Hello people. Today we're going to talk about Remington folding stock model PFS-87. This is the original installation instructions that came with the stock, but this was it. I mean, this just really tells us how to put the stock on the gun. Doesn't really talk about how to assemble the stock, and that's what we need to do today. We need to put this stock together. For a long time, there hasn't been replacement parts available for these stocks. Now, somebody is manufacturing a replacement parts kit, and the main pivoting pin, which we already talked about, doubles as a QD sling attachment for one of these attachments. So we already talked about that, but we have not talked about these other parts. So this is really, really neat. Let's put this all together. So that's the butt pad spring, and that must be the safety, or the lock spring rather. And there's the butt pad pin, there's the lock, and then the quick detach sling attachment. The retaining rings. More retaining rings. And more retaining rings. All right. So let's start with this lock first. The spring goes on like that, and then that goes through there. So we need these retaining rings out. Oop. Oh, look at that. We got 2 retaining rings. Now we only need 1 for this part, but we got an extra one, and that's a really good thing because these are kind of hard to install. Sometimes if you over tension it, it's easy to stretch it out, and then the ring is ruined. Now, to put these rings on, we need a pair of retaining ring pliers. And these are probably the cheapest pair that you can possibly find. You'll find them in True Value hardware store marked with True Value's name, but they're actually made by Pittsburgh. And they only cost, or should only cost, around $5-7. They come with a variety of different heads, angled heads and then straight heads. But what I found very disappointing about the very, very cheap pair is that the head of the pliers wouldn't fit in like this. This fits perfectly because I had to file both of these little heads down to be the right diameter to fit the holes in these rings. Maybe a better quality retaining ring set would fit without modification, but not the Pittsburgh. So you can bet that if you buy a Pittsburgh set, you're going to have to file on these little posts to make them fit. All right. So to start this out, this is a really heavy spring. And it's really hard to hold that like that. So we're just going to put it against our work surface and allow the work surface to work for us. And again, we need to be very careful not to over tension these rings. But again, positioning it there is very difficult. And if you'll notice there, it looks like maybe it's holding, but it's not. That's not on right. We need to make sure that the ring is actually in the channel. There it is. So just manipulating it a little bit, I was able to get the ring to snap into the channel, and that's what it should look like. It should come together tight like that. All right, that works really well. Now to put the stock on, use that lock as an index so that we can put on this next part. But first we should take these retaining rings out of their package. Boy, this is a really tiny package. Oh, we got 3 rings. So to start out, we're going to put 1 ring on this other side. This one side. Make sure it's in the channel properly. And then we're just going to push it through this hole. There it is. And now we know it's at the right place because we've got the other ring on there. If you try to put the pin in first and then try to put the rings on, it's just a little bit more difficult. And it's in there. All right. All right. Now we got to put on this, and like the others, we have a spare retaining ring. All right, let's get this ring on the pin. There it is. Now, I think the key to this you got to get that lined up first. And then this spring wants to sit in here like this. And then the shape of this, see how that's shaped? You need to pull this all the way up while letting these legs rest against the body of the stock inside. There it is. And then get it lined up with the pin and just start pushing the pin through. There it is. Yep, there you go. See, we stretched the ring a little bit there because I didn't do it right. So I'm going to use one of my spares. That's what the spares are for. So what's really important is to try to keep the head, if the tips of this tool were the perfect length to meet the depth of that ring, that would be ideal. But you don't want the end of the pin to protrude any farther out from this ring because that makes it more difficult to get it in that slot properly. Keeping pressure on the other side of the pin so that channel is exposed, and then you got to pull your, there it is. That's not the easiest task, but that's it, and that's how that's supposed to operate. Oh, that's a strong spring, but it needs to be strong. All right, last thing we need to do is install it on our gun. So we're going to install it on our 870 shotgun, and what we need is the screw and washers. There's 2 washers and a screw. There's a metal plate that sits between the stock and the receiver, and a 3/16 Allen wrench. So you want to put the crush washer on first, and then the regular washer. And it's probably easier to get this on if we collapse the stock and then position it together. Drop the screw in. Oh, we forgot our retaining plate. We need to put that retaining plate on. So why is this important? Well, if we don't put the retaining plate on, all the recoil is going to end up hitting the rim of our pistol grip and then damaging the pistol grip or the wooden stock. So what this does is it keeps the pistol grip or the body of your wooden stock away from this rim here. And that keeps it from cracking and damaging whatever it is you've got there. And then you just line up the screw and there we go. And there's our sling attachment. And there we have it. That's the installation of the replacement kit for the PFS-87. Thanks for watching, people. Make it a great day.